Okay. So this just happened to fall into place. It is the holidays. We've got Thanksgiving and Callie's here in town. She's like, hey, I can podcast with you. And so I have a whole list of topics that I want to discuss with her and explore with her. But I also just feel like this just feels like we're playing because that's what we do.
That's all we do.
We just play.
That's all we do.
Welcome to Empowered Now. I'm your host, Colette Kati. Join me as we talk all things to uplift, encourage, teach, inspire, and empower you to see your best self, to live your best life, and to thrive wherever you are. Welcome back. I am with my sister Callie today.
Hi.
Hi. You guys, we are hilarious together, and maybe you don't think we're hilarious. Maybe you think we're ridiculous, but we have the best relationship.
We think we're hilarious.
We are hilarious.
You might not get it, but we do. Here we go.
Here we go.
I'm going to work really hard to keep it chill, keep it short, keep it fun.
I think we're the same.
Yes.
So this might be a really 5 hours later.
Part 5 of chatting with my sister.
Now we're talking about bubbles. Just kidding. Okay. So first of all, I did want to start out by talking about our relationship, basically.
Yeah.
And so we have step siblings. We have a very large family, but we are biological sisters. If you can't tell,
I don't know. If some people think with our biological sisters, you look exactly the same. And then a bunch of people are like, I don't see it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
And then people have actually, so our other sister, Devery, who is the same age basically as Callie, a little bit younger, somebody, at least one person, have thought that you guys were twins.
all the time.
Isn't
We
that
got that all the
crazy?
time in junior high and high school.
And of course she has blue eyes and totally looks different.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the logic. Wait, your sister's the same age?
Right.
We're twins 1 month apart. Work that one out.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into our whole family dynamic. We have a lot of siblings. Hers, mine, well, not. See, now I try to keep it short and then I go, okay, maybe I will go into the whole thing. I'm just going to say whatever I want. It's my podcast. I say whatever I want. Bitch. That's right. So we had a very interesting childhood and upbringing. We both, okay, do I go there?
Yeah, go wherever you want.
I know. I just feel like I want to go everywhere.
Go where your heart is taking you.
Okay, I will. So I'm taking them to this explanation of our bond.
It is tight.
It is unbreakable.
Sorry, that was an audio moment with the T there.
Tip of the tongue.
Tight.
So we have an unbreakable bond. We are like Elsa and Anna situation.
That's cute.
Which one are you?
That's cute and I like it.
But I also feel that way with my other sisters. I love them so much, but we grew up together in an environment that was a little bit, it was the best way that I could describe it this morning when I was going over my notes. I'm like, it was magical and tragic at the same time.
It was magical tragic.
Magical.
I was going to combine the words and it just became magic. I'm like, oh, that doesn't work.
Magic tragic.
It was tragic. I apologize. It will never happen again.
It was so tragic. Wait, tragic. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, yes, because we had our mom was diagnosed with cancer when we were very young, right after Callie was born. So I was 3, 2. I don't even know
Probably
how far
3.
apart we are.
We're 3 and sometimes 4. We ride the 3 and 4 line.
Yeah. So our mom was diagnosed with cancer right after Callie was born. So we grew up with our mom struggling with that. She lived until you were 8.
Yeah.
I was 11. And
just
mom,
turned 8.
Yes, just turned 8. And mom passed away. And so our upbringing was like kind of this mix of like fun and play, because I think Mom made it a point to really be in the moment with us because she knew that her time could be limited.
Yeah.
And so I think that our whole family lived that way. Like Dad was that way. I don't know. I felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have interesting perspectives too, because I hear things about our parents and like the dynamic of our family and personalities of like older siblings and parents. I hear some of these things from older siblings and I'm like, oh, I never would have known that.
Yeah. Like I didn't experience that.
That dynamic or that, like, because we had little child perspectives. So
very much so. And now we have very different like ideas and beliefs about life and things, but we also totally just, it's so hard to explain sometimes. Like we just get each other.
yeah.
Like we have this connection and this bond where we just get each other. And even if like we have different ideas and views on things, it doesn't really affect our relationship in a negative way.
It can't be messed with. People have tried and it's like, nice. You think you're gonna, okay, cute.
Right.
My early YouTube days when trolls would come and try to like make little dramas and things like you and your sister and then you blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, cute.
So funny. Cute. Nice try. Yeah. Yeah. So we
made a magical little world together.
Yes. So, yes. So our upbringing was very much like, it was magical because there was so much love. There was like so much connection and play and love, but it was always had this outlining or like underlining feeling of this could end, you know, it might be over. And even though there were beliefs, like I believed that I would see Mom again if she did die or whatever. It was an interesting time. So Callie and I, we really dove into like our childhood and just like play and imagination. Creativity and imagination were so huge for both of us. So I'm going to let you talk for a second because I keep talking.
It's your podcast. No, that's a good introduction. I remember feeling like other people did not know how to play Barbies right.
I know. What the heck?
Like, it was such a, we were just having normal childhood, but we were coping also.
Right.
And escaping. We're coping and escaping things we did not understand that were way too big. And we had all this drama in our bones from the drama in life that like its outlet was like our Barbies have these relationships that go so deep and they continue like a soap opera episode each time we pick up the story
and
again.
They all had specific names that never changed. They were part of the family, basically. Our stuffed animals, our Barbies, our American Girl dolls, like they were all part of our family.
And there would be kidnappings and ransom notes and it wouldn't just be like we would sit down to play and be like, all right, we're going to play today. What do we do? Oh, hi, Barbie, let's go shopping. No, it was like I would come into my room and see a note and be like, what is this? And it'd be like, I have stolen your daughter. If you ever want her back, you have to find us in the forest. And I'd be like, I have to find my daughter in the forest. And I'd take my red wagon and my supplies.
Yeah.
And I'd go across the pasture to Mary Alice's grove of trees that was the forest to us.
Yeah. She was a lady that lived on the corner in the town that we lived in. And we would bring like little snacks, like little baggies of just dry noodles that were probably terrible for your teeth to just.
Did we eat dry noodles?
I ate dry noodles. Did you not eat dry noodles?
Actually, I can taste them and feel them in my mouth as you're talking about it. So
see,
that must be from that time.
Maybe that was the tragic part. You didn't want to remember the noodles part.
I was younger, so you're bringing back.
Yeah. So fun. Hey, quick pause from the episode because I want to tell you about something that you are not going to want to miss. Are you ready to stop feeling like life is running you instead of you running your life? Introducing my Empowered Now 6-month private transformational program. This is a life-changing experience designed to help you stop self-abandoning and finally honor your needs, break free from people-pleasing and learn how to say no without guilt, create healthy boundaries that put you first, and take back control of your time, your energy, and your life. If you are tired of feeling stuck and overwhelmed, this program is for you. Together, we'll work closely to transform your life from the inside out so that you can live with clarity, confidence, and purpose. And don't wait, because these spots fill up fast, and once they're full, I won't be taking on new clients until next year. So if this is calling to you, you can apply now at the link in my description or go to ColetteKati.com and apply there. Please don't wait. You are not going to regret it. Your future self is going to thank you so much, because the life you have been dreaming of and the life you deserve starts with you. I'll see you there. And we were just so creative. We had a Barbie house that we built. I think that we begged mom and dad for a Barbie house. And I think in their wise adult minds, they're like, look at what you create together. I'm not buying you a house. You just built one that is the most excellent out of cardboard boxes.
We were good.
We were really good.
Yeah.
We've got to have a picture of that somewhere.
Yeah.
But we would build little furniture for them. We would build their beds.
We really wanted the things that we saw in the commercials.
We did.
We really wanted that.
The Barbie car. Oh my gosh.
But we made it instead.
So see how this could be a story of I really wanted this thing and my parents never bought it for me. But I think they were smart. They were like, you don't need it. Use your imagination. Look what you just created with your imagination.
We would take our tube socks and old socks, and we would cut the tube apart, cut the foot part off. And the tube would be like a strapless dress. Just stick the tube sock on the Barbie. Yep. And it's ooh, elegant.
So elegant. And mom taught us how to sew. So we did know how to sew, with a needle and thread, and use the sewing machine as well.
This woman gave us free reign over her sewing machine.
She did.
I still don't understand. She was chill.
Because she knew.
I wouldn't be chill like that. Thanks, Mom.
She was faced with mortality and was like, it's not important. Yeah. Here, make the thing.
That's true.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I think about that now because I just turned 42 this year. And so I just passed mom's lifespan.
Oh,
she died.
That's a mark.
Yeah.
That's a benchmark.
And so I think about what would that feel like to be going through cancer, a terminal illness at that age, watching your children grow and knowing you might not be there. And anyways, not to bring this down, but it definitely makes it feel more real. And so it made her more chill.
And do you feel like you're just such an old mom person? No.
I feel like I'm 12 sometimes.
It's when we were so little that the parents they're just old parent people, and it takes becoming an adult to be like, oh, she was 42.
That was so young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there another kind of marker in life is 34 is the first kind of big marker for us, reaching the age that our mom was diagnosed. Mm-hmm. Did you, I'm going to get it real dark here.
Go for it.
Did you have this thing where before reaching these kind of benchmark ages, when you would imagine your life getting older, did you kind of stop seeing your life past your 40s?
I did not do that, but I remember
I had that.
You saying that, and I think Candace also said that.
Yeah. There's a really visceral thing you don't even know that you're doing where you model your life after your parents. Mm-hmm. You don't know you're doing it. And yeah, it was a long time ago. I've noticed this over a decade ago and processed it a lot. And I see it differently now. But before I ever thought about this, it was just a natural thing for me to look forward at my life and think about my future. And it would just stop. Like I didn't think about being old.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. I remember Candace talking about that and thinking that was like, I didn't do that. I think that in my brain, I was like, that was her thing. It's not going to be mine. Like I'm going to be an old woman when I die. Like I just always believed that.
Yeah.
And I think maybe there was that little fear that, oh, what if I got cancer? But I just refused to go there.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
I think if you had asked me, I would have been like, oh, yeah, I'm going to die old in my sleep.
Yeah.
But it was like a really subconscious thing that I had to like notice it one time, like, whoa, wait a minute. My imagination doesn't like fill in any of the details of my possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
And that has changed.
Right.
But it was wild. It was a wild realization.
So what do you feel like when you think back to your childhood, what's one of the things that you really want to take moving forward? Like, because there was magic and there was also tragedy, a lot of tragedy, because it was hard because she was sick. That was another thing that, like, we didn't have a healthy mom. She was always sick.
Yeah.
There was always a thing or a problem. And I think that I guess I asked you a question, then I started talking. I'll just let you talk. But there was always a problem. And so that messes with your head too.
Yeah. I think I was fairly oblivious of that. I think my age made me pretty oblivious to that. And some of the things that were illness, like I didn't realize were abnormal or illness. I mean, obviously, I do remember periods where she was like on bed rest, like,
yeah.
And that, to a little kid, it's like, oh, well, that's obviously sickness.
Right.
Like, but a lot of other things I just didn't even realize or remember.
Was there anything that you feel like really screwed you up? Like, let's just go there. I mean, obviously, we had a beautiful relationship, I think, because we really connected. Like, I could never hurt her. I think I remember one time, like, I smacked you on the face or something, and I immediately was like, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, what have I done?
I don't remember that.
Okay, I'm so glad. My apology worked. You
so
blocked
funny.
it out. But other than that, like, we were just never mean to each other.
Yeah, like, I
ever.
can't even imagine you smacking me on the face.
I know I can't either. I never did. I promise.
You dreamt it.
I probably dreamt it.
Didn't happen.
I really probably did.
I think I don't remember the fight. I remember that we had a fight and that it was weird.
We were probably like, this is dumb. Why are we doing this?
All I remember is the feeling of being like, this isn't how things go.
So true.
So it was fine, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. So there was like this bond and this magic that I feel like we had. But if we can go dark for a minute, is there anything that you really feel like, okay, yeah, that screwed me up from that experience?
Yeah. Everything screwed me up just irreparably. I'm a screwed up person. Yeah. So not ever getting to feel oblivious, childlike invincibility.
Yes.
Is a big thing.
I love the way you said that.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I was thinking. But the way you described it was like,
Yeah. It's a thing kids get to just have, just oblivious, childlike invincibility.
yeah, like let's try everything. Let's try a backflip. Let's try, I don't know.
And then like maybe when you're 10, finally you experience like a dog dies and you're like, huh? Mm-hmm. That's sad. And I kind of don't understand. Yeah, we didn't get to have that like oblivious joy. And that has created like the endless, just attached companion of the awareness of mortality.
Yes.
Which is pesky as hell. Mm-hmm. And also a gift in some ways, but like so pesky. So like, I just want to feel this like beautiful romantic moment I'm feeling without instantly turning it to oh, what would it feel like when he dies?
Like turning it to the, yes, but it will end.
Yeah.
And how will it end? And what will happen? And
I find love
Yeah.
for me is just attached to death.
right.
And, you know, I don't necessarily feel like that's like an anxiety delusion. I feel like it just is the truth. It's like the most foundational truth of life. But that would be
Right.
nice if I didn't have to be aware of it at all times.
If I could just put that in the back seat instead of the front seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can relate to that. And feeling like this sense of fear because I could die at any minute. Like myself, you know, the love attached to like others dying, like you can't like have this deep love without the idea that, oh my gosh, it's going to end someday. Somebody's going to die. One of us is going to go. But that feeling of, I can't try that and I can't do that
Yes.
because what if I died? What if I eat this thing and I get this disease and I die? Like that fear, there have been some really debilitating times growing up messing with me.
Yeah. I remember being a kid, you know, just playing with other kids and being like, I'm afraid of spiders. Well, I'm afraid of snakes. I'm afraid of heights. You know, like you have a moment where you're like talking about your phobias or whatever. And I remember actually having moments where I would tell other kids, like, I'm not afraid of heights. I love heights. Like heights are exciting and fun. And so trying to figure out when that changed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I still don't know. Like, part of me could easily assume that's just a thing that changed after mom died when like I became aware of death around every corner.
Right.
Because I have like a proper phobia of heights. Like terror in my bones.
Yeah.
Like when we visited the Grand Canyon when I was was I like 12 or 13 something. And I realized that like I wouldn't go near an edge if I wasn't comfortable. Like if there was a proper like barrier or something that felt safe and solid, like I might go peek over a cliff with the, holding the railing or whatever for myself. But when someone else in my family would like go up close to the side of the trail to look over, I would lose my shit. I would lose it.
That fear.
And that remains. Like I went on a really fun like southern Utah wheeling vacation several years ago with my partner Zach and some of our friends, like off-road trail, like going on this long overnight trail that like you couldn't get to without your four-wheel drive vehicle and stuff. And it was I think near Cathedral Valley. Southern Utah is just gorgeous. And there were several like stops along the way where you could kind of pull off and take like a short little walk up to just like a giant view with like a, several 100-foot drop and we're all adults, like these adult men that I'm with are like, yeah, let's go look at the big view. And I'm like, I am gonna, I'd go partway on the trail and I'd be like, I'm gonna stay here because I cannot handle watching you guys walk right up to the edge and I will become a controlling crazy person. So I'm gonna stay back here.
It's good that you know that.
Yeah. And you're gonna go do your thing. And I like as a grown adult, I'm like Zach and my friend Colby like walked, a few like 20 feet further than I did. And I was kind of back there with a view of them. And I literally I sat on the floor. Like I would feel dizzy watching them. So
Yeah.
I sit on the ground, like watching the jackrabbits, like it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And then I'd kind of glance over and I saw at one point, Zach, like kind of step down beyond like a little rock formation to where I couldn't see him. And I like started just like tears flowing uncontrollably. Like, what? God, they can handle their own bodies, you know?
Right.
Like,
It's so interesting what our brains can do.
yeah. It's tough. Sorry, I really went into that fear of heights there.
Yeah. No, I get it. Well, and I feel like I used to have more of a fear of heights. And, you know, if you've watched the vlogs, they always say, Mommy Tart has shaky butt again. Cause I would like, my spine would like seize up and I would feel like my hips shaking. I'm like, I have to, like, I'm weak in the knees type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know what happened in midlife exactly to shift that. But now I'm like, I want to go skydiving and I want to go on all the rides. And
I heard you. So I was listening to that episode with you and Shay, and he was like, I was always like, don't be afraid of things. And you were like, I was always the one afraid of things. And I was like, yeah, because you should be. Because you should be. I'm listening to the podcast. Like,
you're protecting yourself.
You gotta be afraid of things.
This is good. Stay that way.
Shay's like, no, don't be afraid of things. I'm like, no, don't listen to him. Be afraid. No, not really, but
But sometimes, you know.
that's what my body says though. Listening to that, I'm like, I understand.
I get it.
Yeah.
Fear is trying to protect you for sure.
But to be fair, like, I am a big challenge your fears person. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even realize this until recent years. Like, like a lot of my decisions in life are based around challenging a thing that's, my brain is stuck a certain way and I don't like that.
Right.
I want to feel free from that. But I just opt to, like, I'm a climber. One of my great passions in life is climbing, is like rock climbing. And I go in a like climbing gym most of the time and have experienced climbing outside a few times. They're really different. Mm-hmm. But I do both like bouldering and rope climbing. And bouldering is where like you're climbing a route, but it's like, 10 to 15 feet up and there's a giant pad. Like you don't have any ropes. So it's short climbs and you just have to know how to fall right. Like it still can be quite dangerous. I've been injured doing it before, falling on the pad at the gym wrong, spraining my ankle. But like, it's terrifying to me. Even like, I get about 5 feet up, I get past like my own height.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I freeze. And I've been doing this for years, but like I freeze and I have to breathe. And so that's I challenge my fear many times a week.
Right.
But I don't have an interest in challenging it like to the maximum. Mm-hmm. Let's go skydiving. I'm like, no, I don't need that.
Right.
I will challenge my fear every day like a badass in the climbing gym, but I don't need to go all the way.
I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that, I think it's so funny that like we got that same fear. Like we both developed it from that experience. And I just want to normalize like whatever you've been through in your life, everybody gets screwed up. Like in some way, shape or form, there's some level of screw up.
Yeah.
And I tell that to my kids. I'm like, I'm sorry. I know that there's going to be things that you're going to have to deal with later because of the way I parented or what I did or didn't do as a parent and that kind of thing. Like it's just normal. And I don't love the idea of like, I like to talk about these things, but I don't want to ever be a victim of what I've been through.
Yeah.
In my past or in like recent past. I feel like being able to, and I talk about this a lot, like being able to honor every version of yourself, every part of life you were in. And maybe that means grieving some parts of your life and yourself. And I wanted to talk more about that because I know you've kind of been through a big transition in your life.
Yeah.
Of, believing one way and then believing a different way. You've been through divorce. You've been through your mom dying, like our mom dying, like, but I'm interested in your personal story and your journey of how you came to yourself now, like your empowered place now. And, you know, whichever parts of your story you feel comfortable sharing or parts you don't, like,
Yeah.
you know, but I know that we, you know, both grew up in the same religion. We grew up with the same parents, obviously. And this happens, I think, with everybody. You have, like, you're going to create your world based on what you make things mean, what experiences you have specifically, and all of that. And so, like, you're a co-creator of your reality. And yes, things are going to happen to you. People are going to hurt you. Circumstances will be there that shape that. And that's why I really truly believe, like, that we honor every part of our being.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard
to do.
Especially if you've had such a big change and, like, mental shifts and life shifts, belief shifts. Mm-hmm. Like, I would love to hear more about whatever part of excuse me. I would love to hear more about whatever part of the journey, your journey, you feel like sharing.
Yeah. There's a lot. I have a life of transformation. I have a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll say that, like, it's really interesting, the psychology of, like, nature versus nurture to me, because you can have, like, the same upbringing as someone, and I feel that something about my nature, I personally feel that something about my nature was different, you know, like, and there's no knowing, like, oh, had this thing been tweaked in my childhood, and maybe I wouldn't be this way or that way. But, like, I don't know. I think that the environment that you're growing up in, whatever normal is to you, the more the more different it is from your nature, the more you're just going to be living in a kind of stress situation.
Yeah.
And I think that it was very different from my nature. Like, okay, there's such a cliche. It's in so many movies. The, like, I'm going to escape this small town.
Yes.
I'm going to move to New York or LA. I don't know why I'm doing this accent with this.
I just really like it.
I'm thinking of, like, Christina Aguilera and Burlesque.
I know, Burlesque. That was the first thing that I was like, she's so fabulous. She's going to make it in LA or wherever she went.
Yep. And it's such a cliche in life, but it's really there. Why is it there for so many people in like small town USA? Like, a bunch of people will just be like, this is lovely. I love this. I love my upbringing. I love my small town. I have so much pride in this place and this way. And I want to have this life too. And then there's just some of us little menaces to society over here. Deviants. That's the word I was looking for. It's just like, I'm going to escape this small town. I'm going to show them. And, like, no one's being mean to me. Everything's nice. Everything's lovely. But I'm like, I hate this place.
Right.
I was very called by pop culture and art. And I just always had that thing. So, yeah, and pause while I remember where I was going with this.
You're fine. I just realized, I'm like, I didn't even properly introduce you.
No, you did. No, it's great.
Okay.
Don't just second guess that.
Okay.
It was great.
Thank you for validating me while you're trying to think of what you were going to say. Now I'm like, oh, I have a problem. Fix it.
This could be the thing we talk about in the podcast, is the little tendencies.
Yeah. I mean,
anyways,
this is all going in. We're not editing this out.
We'll analyze this in part 2. So yeah, I feel personally that the trauma that I was going through, and how I just want to give a quick mention to how much our religion, our faith, was tied to the trauma. Because of course, our parents, in their faith that gives them meaning and hope, and gives them, like, answers, of course they're going to teach us, like, this is why it's okay. Mm-hmm. This is, like, they're protecting us. Like I have no animosity for my parents teaching me the best way that they knew, like the plan of eternity, to explain why it's going to be okay. But having that having that faith aspect married to such a present trauma that was too big for me to understand caused the faith to be just like, oh, it's important.
Right.
It's so big. It's the thing. And I do think just knowing myself and my personality, my tendencies, my interests, I don't think that our religion that we grew up in would have had as much. I don't think it would have kept very much of a hold on me. I don't think I would have been so devout. So, I would not have put so much weight in it.
Right.
Because
it's almost like you jumped in too deep.
Well, I was just born in the deep end. Right.
Yeah.
There was nothing else. And
it was in the deep end. Yeah.
Yeah. There was nothing else. And this was everything.
Right.
And I was also a just insufferable romantic. Like that's part of my personality. Big.
I feel like, don't you feel like we got that from mom and dad though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like their relationship, because they were just so much in love. It was like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
To us, because we were so young. Mm-hmm. It was like, wow, they have such a romance, and she's dying, and he would do anything for her, and it was like a tragic, like a Shakespearean tragedy or something.
Yeah, it's probably the same way that anyone, like any adult outside, like looking into that story, probably saw it that way too. Right. Like, oh, young, beautiful couple. They're very attractive people also. Just these pretty people in this beautiful small town life with like just killer, like super mom, like baking the fresh bread and sewing the clothes like from scratch.
Perfect life.
Yeah, just beautiful life. A flower garden. Like, yeah. And she has cancer in her 30s and they have young children. And
it was so tragic.
Such a love story. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't just for like dramatic adults looking in. Like we felt that. We felt that looking up to it too. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was a romantic kid. So it was just like, I will never be able to be in love with someone that I couldn't be with for all eternity. Right. Which our religion taught us that we had like the keys, we had the way to bind ourselves for eternity to the people we loved. And that it wasn't something easily attained by anyone. Like that we had to have that religion and the keys that we had and like follow the right path to have that. So that was a big thing. But yeah, I feel like I'm veering off track, but this is all to set the context that I don't believe with knowing myself that I would have had so much weight in my religion without that tragedy present in my life. And
do you think if you didn't have that weight, it wouldn't have caused as much?
I might have just found myself sooner.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Okay, and now here's where I could go several directions in the story.
I know, right?
I ended up married.
I do that all the time. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Focus. Which one?
Which path? I ended up married to a person that, like, it was very much the religious weight was kind of used against me by a kind of a manipulative person. Like, God has shown me that we are supposed to be together. Like, I don't want to go into that.
Right.
I've gone into that. But it's just, a lot of my life path that made me feel like, I wish I'd just gotten to the good stuff sooner.
Right.
Was kind of that weight of the must follow this only correct path to have the eternal love, you know?
Yeah. Which probably caused a lot of, like, I feel like sometimes if we have that outside idea of what we should do, then it's so easy to lose like your own internal guidance system or your own like your own path.
Yeah.
Like, and I, to be clear, like I'm still in the religion that we grew up in. My view of it has shifted over the years, and going through my own transformational experiences, the way that I believe is kind of like a 360 of what I believed before, but I'm still here. Mm-hmm. And so, and I don't know, I've had a lot of questions of people, you know, like, could you dive more into that? Not on this podcast, but I get that feeling of like, okay, this is how it has to look. And I've got to follow all the rules, and I've got to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. Is that right?
That is correct.
I did it right.
That's
I didn't
how the
switch
letters
them. I
look.
usually switch them. But you know what I mean? I got to do it all right or else.
Yeah.
Like you kind of get that feeling of like, or else, which I don't necessarily think is, I don't think it's right. And I don't think it's always that way for everybody, but it very much, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it would be easy to be like, oh, the adults in our life taught us this like intense way. But I do think that a lot of it was just the weight of the tragedy.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Like I could have been just like a normal, super rebellious teenager, like having fights with my dad about the music I listened to or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. But I was just like, I gotta be a good kid. And that's another great point, is that I felt so emotionally tied to my dad in a different way. I don't know if this is like codependence or what. I don't know. Right. I don't know exactly what to call it, but like my dad was my remaining like parent,
the rock, the soul, of the family.
And I won't go down this whole path of like the blended family. That would be a long, many part podcast on its own. But like, even though I ended up with like an amazing stepmom and step siblings, like blending a family is really hard, and they decided to keep the brunt of like the burden of like disciplining children. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'll discipline my kids, you discipline your kids. Like,
that's hard.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I understand.
Navigating all of that is so hard.
I understand like their logic in that, but it was like, that would be so hard to figure out. But it did kind of cause me to feel like, well, my dad is my parent.
Right.
And my mom, my stepmom now, is like, she's a figure. She's
like the supportive role.
Yeah.
But not.
She's an important figure in my life, but doesn't have as like near as much authority over it.
Right.
Which changes a relationship dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, yeah, I don't need to go down that whole explanation, but yes, it was very, and I feel like I'm finally like getting around to the point you even.
No, you're good. I love it. It's all interesting. And I'm sure that there's so many of you out there that can relate. I mean, let me know. Let us know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. Or if not, like, I love Instagram DMs. Let us know. I'd love to hear.
So I started to find myself, like really live for myself when I got divorced at like the age of 27.
Right.
And for me, it was not like a gradual thing. It like just the circumstances, it slapped me in the face all at once.
Yeah.
That circumstances of my divorce and the way that I was trying to figure it out and emotionally process it, and the way that my religion was involved with it, I just ended up losing my faith at the same time because of new perspectives that I was having that I'd never ventured into before. I ended a marriage, lost my faith all at the same time. And
that's a lot.
It was giant.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember being on the outside of it.
Yeah.
And watching and somewhat like, wow, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, But knowing you and having the connection that we've had, like, I feel like, because there was a lot of this, like, I didn't know, because we weren't really, like, we were connecting, but we didn't even live super close to each other. Like, you were in LA for a while, but then you were in Singapore. And
well, I was in Singapore and then we moved to LA.
yeah.
And we were only there 4 months. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was like, I wasn't even really settled in yet to living there.
But I remember feeling like, wow, what's happening? Like, I didn't know all of the turmoil that you had actually been experiencing.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't either, which is, yeah, it's so strange to feel like I'm just me. I'm myself. I'm living my life. I am being who I am. And that was all true for me. But then to like have a shocking, jarring wake up where you're like, I have not been living my life for me. I'm terrified to disappoint anyone. So scared. Like I might die if I disappoint my dad.
Right.
I might die if I disappoint my family.
Yeah.
And then to see like a cascading avalanche of like, I can't go back. I can't go back. Oh, my beliefs are gone.
It's like when you see it and you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And you're now like, well, I have to keep moving forward because this is what I see now. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're like, oh my gosh, can I just stuff it back in the box? Because this is a wild ride, right?
And that's when I kind of realized I've always had a rebel spirit a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm like, when I left our faith, and I ended up with a community of people who have experienced leaving this same faith, like people need to find each other and support each other. Like, it's okay. You can survive this. Mm-hmm. And like, I found the ex-Mormon community, and everyone has very different experiences there. And a lot of people, it's like they will start to lose their faith and they're like, oh, this is going to be bad. This is going to be hard. Everything's going to change. And they will kind of, for years, still pretend a little bit and walk this line of balance where they're trying to protect their situation and not lose their community, but try to figure out how to be true to themselves while they're not believing it. Like that's a common experience I've heard of. For me, something about my personality was just like, well, shit.
This is what we're doing.
I can't live with I have a very, and I think every different kind of personality and processing is important. I do not think everyone should be the same.
Right.
That would not work.
No.
But for me, it was like this, there's this inability to pretend or fake, and I don't want to act like people are being fake when they're trying to navigate this. And
right. But it's a coping. I mean, it's like your body's coping skill to navigate it how it feels is safe for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're to completely like, I don't even know the words I'm looking for, like reject everything, jump into this new life, like that might even feel not even just like, it's not like you're trying to.
That doesn't feel safe.
Yeah, it doesn't feel safe. It's not safe for your nervous system, like your brain, your emotional system. Like it's just not smart. And so like sometimes we can judge parts of ourselves when we're like, well, I knew this, but I was doing this.
Yeah.
It's like, trust that sometimes you've got to go at a pace that all systems need to be on board with.
Yeah.
So like maybe your brain knows something, but like there's another part of you that's like, but what about this? Like it's okay to be in that like conflict a little bit.
It's okay to breathe and wait and stay in a situation that has become a situation you want to leave. Mm-hmm. It's okay to take your time and plan how to strategically leave it, and that is best for you. And I actually wish that I had been able to do that in my marriage, because I did not know how to I did not know how to divorce. I just was like, get me out.
Especially because if you think about, like, I'm young Callie and I have this belief that I've got to marry for eternity and I've got to have this, it has to be this way. So for you to accept, like, oh, it's not, this isn't actually okay with me now.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable. And if I have to do this for eternity, no, just no, right?
Unsign me up.
So
I didn't mean to sign up.
You almost have to give that little girl a little room to be like, okay, we're changing things up now.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know you had this belief, I know you had this goal or this desire, and it's different now.
Yeah. So
you gotta,
I don't want to judge anyone who takes their time and figures out their strategy and looks like they're still just living the life that people expect while they're figuring it out inside. Like, that's wise, that's smart for me. And I do think that I've learned certain things about my personality and my neurodivergence that that really fit with this. I have a strong sense of justice, and I really struggle to mask my truth. To, like, if I'm not feeling it, it's hard to pretend like I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Which is, it's another way, like, that wouldn't feel safe for you to pretend.
Yeah. It would feel suffocating.
Yeah.
So for me, I was just like, get me out immediately. And my logic was, and this actually is a testament to how loving our family was. Okay. Because my logic was, the sooner I rip the Band-Aid off, okay, I don't believe this anymore. Everything is going to change, and it's going to be messy, and I'm going to lose everything I understand for something different and adventurous and exciting. Now that I know there's a whole life, I don't believe this one anymore, you know? So it was like exciting, but whoa, I'm about to lose everything.
Right.
So for me, my logic was, this is gonna happen anyways. And the sooner I make my loved ones aware that this is gonna happen no matter what they say or do, the sooner they can have time to process it and move on and accept the new me. And that, I mean, that's good logic. It's true.
It is. Makes sense.
So that caused me to really just throw it at a fan. Just throw the shit at the fan.
It's in it.
And be
it's
like,
splattered everywhere. Okay,
deal with it. Deal with it. This is where we're at now.
Yeah.
Deal with it. And it was hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
real
remember that time. And for me, just kind of like being on the outside, but also being close to you, like watching and just thinking, like, my heart was going out to you because there was this whole experience that you had that was not working anymore. That I almost kind of felt like guilty that I wasn't there for you more. That I wasn't like,
I think that's natural.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, you were experiencing this whole thing and I wasn't there for you, and I'm your sister and I want to be there for you. But I also felt like there's nobody can tell you what's true for you. And so watching you come to your truth, like, there was like an empowerment to it.
Nice.
You know, like, just feeling like, I just want you to follow you and to be happy, like, genuinely. And I've always felt that way, like, with my kids too. Because I know, and I do get asked this question a lot, like, how do you handle when your family's making decisions that you don't agree with, or your kids make decisions you don't agree with? Well, you're not the expert in their lives. As much as you would like to be, you're not. And especially as kids become adults, like, maybe you have taught them, just like our parents taught us what they thought was best. Maybe you've taught them the best that you can, and that's great. And you can let that go. You let them take what they experienced and then create their own. And I feel like there were some things about that whole experience that for me, I was like, whoa, that's a lot. That's new. That's different, you know?
Yeah.
But I was also like, good for you. but also I want to hold you through this because this sucks. Because I could see how difficult it was and how scary it was.
It was like the worst thing I've ever been through.
Yeah.
It was bad. And just like I planned, the sooner I got it over with, like people were like, whoa, okay, well, that's who Callie's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Did you see a lot of people fall away from you?
Well, here's the really depressing answer to that. The really depressing answer to that is I didn't really have people outside of my family. Well, and I was going to say this is why it's a testament to how loving they were, because I knew that they would get over it eventually because they loved me.
Yeah.
I knew, that's one thing I wanted to reiterate, is I knew no matter what I could do, that my parents would not disown me. Mm-hmm. And not everyone has that.
Not everyone has that.
Many people do not have that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I would have acted if I thought my parents would disown me if I leave this faith, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe I would still be faking. I don't know.
Like what a hard decision to have to make.
Yeah. So it was hard and messy and it was so terrible. But my family loves me. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that there are so many different ways to believe something.
Yeah.
To believe seemingly the same thing, the same, religion. Mm-hmm. It is a religion. That means there's a structure, there are teachings, there are doctrines. So you think that you believe it and everyone else who's a part of the organization believes exactly the same way you do. It's not true.
No.
And that blew my mind. Even as an adult, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of just veering into my own thing right now. Have I left any unanswered thing? Am I ignoring a thing?
I don't think so. Okay. But I do want to look at the camera real quick. So let's pause for a second.
Make sure it's on.
We are going to pause there. I know what you're thinking. What is she going to say? I have to know. Well, please tune in next week where Callie and I continue our conversation and we go deeper with many other topics. So please come and I'll see you there next week. Thanks for watching Empowered Now. If anything you heard today resonated with you and you want more, please like and subscribe so that you won't miss an upload. You can also follow me on social media at Colette Kati. And if you're interested in working with me more closely through coaching or other opportunities, go to my website, ColetteKati.com. It is my hope that you will continue to come back and experience for yourself the benefits of choosing an empowered life. Your feedback and your experience are very important to me, so please take a moment to connect with me in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on today's episode, ideas for future topics, and ideas for guests that you would like to see. And as always, thanks for your time, support, and your courage to live empowered now.